2019, in the middle of a busy intersection in Tokyo, something began that would have consequences into the future, and even some that would reverberate into the past. Because at that very moment, unbeknownst to the shoppers and tourists, Joseph Stalin was meeting in Russia in the 1940s, where he and Joseph Truman would plan the most significant attack on human planning and forethought the world had ever known. The United Nations, in conjunction with other bodies and governments around the world, began signing and doing things. These things would change not only the globe, but the planet itself. The next year, a ship and a program called Strength for the Free World launched. Grains began to pour in from overseas. Shoes were distributed and clothes sorted. The operation began what would be called the time of the flying tractors, because the means of production was suddenly in the hands of those very men who legislated from behind the flags of many nations.
If a Negro baby is born, and this is true also of Puerto Rican...
John H. Kennedy launched onto the scene in 1964 when he debated Richard Bauhaus Nixon.
We lack compassion for the poor, for the old, and for others that are unfortunate.
The contrast was stunning, and it ushered in, not entirely uncoincidentally, the era of satellites and computers. Men in white coats began to analyze and compute, finally reaching a very interesting conclusion about the planet. That if the Earth were surrounded by tiny balls, a person wanting to go from New York to Paris to Bombay could in an instant. A new kind of doing things had begun. And when that novel strategy was unleashed, it allowed just about anybody to flip a switch and change the world. Jonathan Stalin decided to do just that. In 1955, with the help of the agency questionnaire and the Communist Party, Karl Marx became not just the symbol of an economic system, but the symbol of a whole new way of doing things. Meanwhile, in 21st century Japan, a quiet sameness was happening, an ordinariness with so much impact that halfway around the globe in Frankfort, Kentucky, professional wrestling was being born like never before.